rapper Burner, who has been sued again. This is one of our most
This is a
watched.
is this a new one or is this the
A
one that?
couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
This is the third time he's been sued this year, I believe, over his brand's cookie. Similar thing we talked about before, where Eric is one of his most heated backlashes, along with what's his name, Richie the Clown. Is
I'm
that his
glad I
name?
don't check in on those comments because I'd probably get
Yeah.
triggered.
Um, but people saying Eric doesn't know what he's talking about. A few people agree with him. Some people that don't like Burner, but he owns, he's a rapper who owns this weed brand that's very popular, one of the biggest in the Western Hemisphere, and he's being sued. They're saying that they took, um, lined their pockets is the quotes they use. I guess this is a legal matter, so again, we can talk in legal terms here. At the expense of the business, they lined their pockets. Now, Eric said that he believes that a lot of this is fronting for illegal operations, but let's just read a bit of this, and
Well,
then we'll both have a little segment on it.
yes, I
Yeah.
do think. I mean, let's just put into perspective that not just this brand, but when you think about a lot of rappers in general, right? We can go all the way back to the '90s, Suge Knight, up to current day Young Thug. There's typically something behind the facade, right? There's typically something behind the face of the business. And before we get into it, I just want to preface, like, I have no problems with Burner, bro. Like, he's a successful dude. Obviously, he did something very, very right. But I will say, as somebody who is quite familiar with the cannabis industry, especially in California, I will give him the credit. We'll say I don't want to blame him, but give him the credit with over marketing everything and turning weed into this designer stuff, and people are
It's
pretending that
really
they
nice
can.
clothes.
Well, but they can. People are pretending that they can tell the difference between this weed and that weed when I don't believe they can. It's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
You can tell the difference between a PBR and a Guinness, right? If you're talking about beer. But I think there are very few strains of weed that people can genuinely tell the difference from if it's not put in a different package or a different bag.
Well,
But they've
let's just
they've
tell
marked.
people.
Hmm?
Let's just tell you to go back and watch the other Burner clip about his other lawsuit. Get get Eric's full view on this, just for
Okay.
time's sake.
It just they over marketed the entire thing is the point I'm trying to make for money, and it worked. It's successful, but it's a little bit of a scam there.
So the so the third lawsuit alleges that is using improper business tactics. A pair of lawsuits filed earlier this year accused the executives of siphoning off millions of dollars in kickbacks, with one lawsuit from a group of investors accusing the Cookies brass of using threats of physical violence to, quote, strong arm and bully others into paying them millions of dollars in personal benefits and kickbacks. This is from everybody's favorite San Francisco Gate, by the way, which is kind of a shitty outlet. So we'll take that
Well, it's
into
free. It's
consideration.
free.
The latest lawsuit filed last week in LA Superior Court by the cannabis breeding company Seed Junkie, that's a red flag already, Eric, that it's a different weed company, claims that Cookies and Seed Junkie launched a joint venture named Mints in 2019 to sell products. The lawsuit accuses executives of Cookies of abusing their power to cook Mints' books to Seed Junkie's detriment, and alleges that Cookies executives use fraud to line their pockets at Seed Junkie's expense. Burner, whose real name, or they're dead naming him, Gilbert Milam Jr. I'm pretending
Yeah.
he's French. Executives stole cannabis strains and that they provided false and fraudulent financial data. So this is the third lawsuit, Eric. And when this sort of stuff starts happening and people are piling on, I can't help but think that it's not exactly on the level. And what I mean by that is when you get one person saying the executives are lining the pockets, and then you get a second person saying it, and then you get a third person saying, hey, he also touched me on an airplane or in an elevator or in a change room in a bookstore in Manhattan. It starts to lose credibility. If this was a problem in 2019, then why didn't you guys come up with this before? They're strong arming people to line their pockets. I'd be willing to believe that they stole your branded seeds or whatever it was. But am I willing to believe that you waited 4 years on your own to start suing somebody, and it wasn't because other executives and other people suing them said, "Hey, let's pile on"? That's where you lose me, Eric. Just like Trump and this woman in this place in New York City during a book signing where he allegedly did stuff to her in a change room. Berner says it was completely false, which we covered in a different video. Um, and he said basically before that they've been trying to kick him out. They think the brand will be better without him. He of course denies that. Who is it said? Yeah, Burner said, dude's been crying like a little B word on Instagram, throwing subliminals. You failed, bro. You failed. See, Junkie did not pop. So Burner's saying that it's just your failed company. And, 4 years later, that's what it is. I'm still going to be on Team Burner here, Eric. Do you have any other perspective that you want to throw at me? Get a little bit more hate comment. Fuel the algorithm.
Yeah, I would love to. I would love for you to go back up to the top of the article very quickly. Can you go back up to the
Okay.
top?
To which part?
Like the first paragraph. Okay.
This one?
Let's see. The lawsuit accuses Cookies executives. Oh, now you're.
This one
Okay.
or the other one?
Here, let's leave it here. With one lawsuit from a group of investors accusing Cookies Brass of using threats of physical violence to strong arm and bully others into paying them millions of dollars in personal benefits and kickbacks. Okay. Are we putting it past a drug dealer, right? Let's call it what it is, right? You can say, oh, it's medicine, whatever. I mean, you're a dope dealer. It's fine, right? You can make it legal in California because they want to turn everybody into zombies who smoke weed all day, every day. I've seen it, right? So you could still be sort of docile, right? You're not going to be bad down enough to sleep on the street like you're doing, self-vaccinating under the Bay Bridge. But they want people smoking this stuff all day, so they will not stand up to crooked, corrupt politicians like London Breed and Gavin Newsom and Scott Wiener and all that stuff. So the idea that Cookies Brass was threatening people, is that really beyond the pale? Do you really think for one split second a dope dealer and his boys are beyond strong-arming a competitor in California? Give me a break, bro. Of course that very likely could have happened. And, it was 4 years ago. There's no way that somebody waiting 4 years through Rona, the scariest time of our entire lives, when they probably couldn't even get to a lawyer because everybody was scared to breathe the air outside their front door, is even comparable to some woman who wants to bring up charges against Trump or Brett Kavanaugh 30 years after the fact because they're running for political office. So I would venture to say that there could have been a number of reasons why a few years, maybe they tried to work, we don't know all the details, maybe they tried to work something out. Maybe they were building a case. Who knows what happened in that 4 years? And I don't have that. I'm definitely not on Team C Junkie or whatever. I'm not going to go to bat for them. But I'm also not going to put it beyond Burner and his cronies to strong arm people. Give me a break, bro. Like, we're talking about a pot-smoking rapper. Do we think for one split second that it's beyond him to step outside the lines a little bit? Give me a break. It's all quite possible. I am not going to sit here and say he did it. I'm not going to sit here and say that C Junkies is owed millions of dollars, or because I don't know. But to pretend that this is beyond Burner and his posse is ridiculous. Of course, this is all really quite possible.
Get Richie the barber on the line. Get Burner on the line. Get somebody else on the line that Eric disagreed with. Get the Cuomos on the line. They're coming for you, Eric. And I'm going to stand there. I'm going to say, it's him. It's him right there, man. Here's the guy, Cuomos. No, I don't like the Cuomos. Richie, tattoo the clown stuff on his face. Permanently glue that clown wig to his head. Like Sideshow Bob's hair or something. Or Krusty. Let me tell you something, kid. This isn't makeup.
Yeah, bro, this is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I look, you listen to Burner's music, I'm sure more than I do.
Right.
But
right.
in the rap world, half the time is spent expressing how tough and strong and
how criminalistic we are.
How un-F-withable you are. Nobody could touch you. And again, I don't know much about Burner's music. But if we're talking about hip hop in general, they spend 50% of their time talking about how tough they are, about how I got shot 9 times, this, that, and the other. And I love that. I grew up on 50 Cent. I like Future. I love Kanye West. Obviously, Kanye is a little bit different subject matter wise, but it's like you spend half the time talking about how tough you are. You spend 30% of the time talking about women. You spend another 10 talking about how much money you have, and then another 10 abstractly, coming up with things that don't make any sense, but they rhyme. So yes, this is quite possible that Burner and his buddies did this to gain a little bit more money. I don't think that's even remotely out of the question.
Turn it up, Jordan.